up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and back to the scene of the crime. We got Cory Hardrict here. Yes, and congratulations. I had a screening of Die Like a Man, so I had a chance to see you playing a gangster.
Again.
But you're also executive producing this.
Yeah, it's like coming of age story, rites of passage movie set in L.A. It definitely has that, that Los Angeles old school feel, far as like, how Boyz in the Hood had that, like the L.A. movies and those cultural movies with like the black and brown. So, but it's definitely indie, so it's like a slower burn.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a rites of passage film. I play solo, a gangster who got out of jail, who mentors the young guy.
Is that what we call it?
Yeah, it's mentorship. That's all. It's called mentorship.
Is that called mentorship?
It's misguided mentorship.
Okay, misguided mentorship.
It's misguided. I know. Is that what we call it? That ain't what it was. Misguided mentorship. And he looks up to me, so he wants to like win my approval over. And it's just like becoming like a boy to a man of just doing things to win me over. But you see, that always leads to like that's like a bad path to go on.
Oh my gosh. But it's interesting to see how it also happens. Like, because I think, like you said, it is a slow burn, but we get to see the whole process and the whole thought process of what a young 17-year-old boy is going through in a neighborhood where you can't even walk home from school without getting worried about people trying to jump you, prove their manhood on you. And now you got to defend yourself, even if you're walking with your girl.
Right. That's how it was. That's how it still is sometimes. But that movie, the filmmaker Eric Nazarian, he grew up in that neighborhood and like he grew up in that community, so he wanted to do something true and authentic to what he saw, like when he was coming up, and it's still like that. So he just told the truth through his through his lens.
It's interesting because I think that we can pass a lot of judgment on like the main character Freddie. Right. Who's a 17-year-old boy, and we see him making these terrible decisions, but we get to see the why. Right. And sometimes we read these news stories and we don't know the why of what got somebody in the situation, so we can look at it from our judgmental point of view and be like, oh, he did X, Y, and Z, write him off, put him in jail for the rest of his life.
Right.
But there is some type of redemption that can be had for somebody who's so young making these bad decisions because he doesn't have the right people in his life.
Right. It's about your support system, right? Like, you have to have the people in your life that's going to tell you, like, right from wrong. Like, be honest with you and just look at your future more than, like, today. Because a lot of people, like, move off of, like, the now instead of saying, what's this going to look like 10, 15, 20 years from now? And, that's really important just for, like, the new generation and the youth today, So hopefully this movie is, like, a message of what not to do. You know what I'm saying? Of, like, on how you can become a man without doing crazy things to win approval, from the community.
Just think about if you would have been around the wrong people growing up, how you could, like, I think that could be any of us.
Right.
You think about circumstances of the neighborhood that you were born in. His mom was trying to raise him as a single mother. That's not easy, not knowing, your father's not around, and then you get caught up.
Right.
I want to ask you what drew you to even producing and starring in this movie, and what was that process like for you? Because I know this has been in film festivals, and now it's going to be in theaters, limited release, but then it's also going to be streaming digitally on April 25th.
On Apple. Well, I started my film company, Hardcore Films, and this is like my 9th film having a producer credit. So it's like, I said, you know what? Let me just start being more creative and like using my whole vision on what I want to build for my company and for like the jobs and stuff I want to get back in the films I want to do. So this film, they gave me an active producer credit, and I was more of like just studying, like looking and observant, like more than like giving or like producing credits, like who put stuff together.
Right.
That's mainly what it is, and who can get you to the money. That's like producing. So it was definitely something that I feel like it's just like a building stepping stone for me, like a building block for me to continue to build my business and company on where I'm trying to go. But I wasn't like so hands on, like making all the decisions. It was like it came with the actor credit.
Right. It makes sense though.
Yeah.
Because you want to have a hand in that too, as you're, like you said, building your company. What's the goal for you? Like you said, this is the 9th film that you've produced, and you have other things, I'm sure, in the works right now as we sit here and speak.
Yeah.
So for Cory Hardrict, what is the goal for your production company?
Take it back to those films we grew up on. Well, I know like the Boyz in the Hoods, like those films that were like went
Classics.
on to be like cultural classics, Menace to Society, Juice. But they were at a low price point, but they still traveled the world and they still did really well because they were shot with great filmmakers. They were real cinematic. So my company want to start there and then work my way up. But I don't really see the movies that I grew up loving no more like that.
You're right about that.
I don't really see them no more. So I said, that's why I want to do hardcore films, because I'm an artist first. Like I'm really like a true artist. And it's like I want to do like films that feel poetic. You know what I'm saying? Like everything.
All right, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
All right, Boyz in the Hood or Menace?
Wow.
Because that's always the age-old debate out of those two.
Oh, that's tough. But I'm going to have to go with Menace.
Okay, sure. Why?
I mean, Menace, something about Menace was so like, it was just so raw. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was just so raw. And then, Lorenz and I remember Tyron Turner, like when they played in that movie, it was just kind of like, it took me to like LA, even though I didn't know LA. And I was just like, wow, LA is like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the gang culture and just how they talk and everything. So that movie stuck with me for sure.
I remember O-Dog. I remember interviewing Lauren London way back when I used to work at Sirius. And we asked her, like, what's your ideal man? And she was like, O-Dog. I was like, what?
Yeah, women like that danger element for some reason.
Well, you've been playing the hell out of those roles. Let me tell you something. One thing in this movie, too.
I need a romantic comedy.
Yeah, can somebody give him a romance? I'm tired of you.
Yes, I need to play a
putting your
pastor or
hands
something in
on
the
women
movie.
in these movies.
That's just the movies now.
Okay, I know. No,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying
the movie.
in these movies.
Yeah, in these movies.
So what is it like for you playing the, because it feels like you've been doing this bad guy role quite a bit. Why are you getting typecast?
I don't know. It's just like they love it. Like so I'll give the people what they want to see. But, definitely I'm looking at like lighter films in the future. But if they want this, I'm going to give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I have fun. I enjoy playing these characters as well because they're honest characters, even though they're like,
these
they're
are
hated.
Yeah. I mean, even
They
the
be hating
title,
my characters, though.
Die Like a Man. What does that even mean when you think about a title like that? Because that is the first thing that draws you in. Like, what does it mean? Because there's all these kind of ideals of what a man should be. So what does it mean to die like a man?
It's just toxic, masculine. Go out, just a man's man. That's what I believe. Go out on your own rules, your own terms. Just rebel, kind of just that rebel, you know what I'm saying? Like that rebel attitude. But yeah, Die Like a Man is, I'm thinking.
One thing I thought watching this, a big theme was not crying.
In the movie.
Yeah, a big theme in this movie was like, what are you crying for? Don't cry. If you crying, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And that is something that I feel like has been really, I feel like it's changing a little now.
Okay.
But no matter what, even if you was to get online today, right, and be crying.
It's considered what? Like soft, or he's too weak?
Imagine what the reaction would be. It's going to be mixed. Some people will be like, oh, Cory, but then some people will be like, oh my God, if he don't get his bitch ass out of here, you know what? And that's what it is.
And it's tough because men can't really cry, or show those vulnerabilities, to people without them, without him feeling like, I'm going to be judged or I'm going to be considered soft or weak. But it's just like, I think men need to cry more. And I think it would definitely, open everything up as far as how he sees like himself through people, you know what I'm saying? If he just cried more, because there's a lot of pain comes from that violence in the gang world, like what they didn't get at home, so they try to go get it in the streets, like through like my character. But if you were able to sit and talk with someone, let them know how you really feel, open up your emotions, maybe you wouldn't go do the things that you do. They just want somebody to listen to them at the end of the day.
What were you taught about crying as you were young, like when you were growing up?
Growing up, I wasn't taught much about crying. I always would hide my emotions in front of people, but I would cry like alone, like go in my room or something and cry. But then when I would come out, like naturally, it's just like to wipe your face and wipe your tears because you don't want nobody to see you cry. you know. But I definitely had those moments a lot as a child. Like I just would cry in isolation.
I think even in this business, there gotta be times you.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, listen, it's overwhelming when things, you know, there's ups and there's downs.
Yeah, because it's like a roller coaster in this business. Like one minute you thinking like, okay, this the movie, this the one that's gonna boom. The next thing you know, you're like, what? What's going on? I'm back to auditioning and no, I'm serious. And you like,
no, I feel you.
Hold on, I showed y'all what I could do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's but you just gotta, you know, trust in the work, your process, the purpose, and just know when it's your time. Be prepared, and you know your craft. So that's what I try to do every time.
What kind of conversations do you have with your son about things like that? Like if you have to talk to him about showing emotions and having those talks with him about like, okay.
I do tell my son, like I allow him to cry and listen to him because he's 13. You know, he's like a big 13-year-old. Because, you know, I'm his father. It's like he wasn't raised like me, and it's like he raised in L.A. You know, it's a little different.
Around the celebrity kids, you
yeah,
know, you
so
school,
it's just like
good education.
I'll allow my son to like, you know, cry and be emotional with me, and I'll listen to him. But I'll let him know too. I tell him nobody cares, son, in this world, because they really, really don't. Like outside of your household, the world don't really care if you're crying or not. You know?
I think sometimes we also, on the other side of that, is that things that could feel really, to us, like it's the end of the world, the world doesn't care.
They don't care, right?
And so it's kind of like, to us, we're like, ooh, this is awful. And it's overwhelming. But in general, people are like, all right, what happened next? Diddy's, and you know, like we just move on.
It's like the next story. It's always
what's
like
the next big story?
It's the next story. Yeah, it's the next. Yeah.
You think you raise your son and daughter differently as far as how it comes? Because I think about me, and I have an older brother.
Okay.
And I just think about how he was allowed to do so much more than me growing up. I used to be like, how come he gets to do that? And
yeah. I let my daughter get away with everything. Yes. She could be throwing forks and everything at my son. Like, son, it's all right. It's just a fork. He's like, Dad, she bit me. I'm like, boy, that ain't nothing.
Wipe it off.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I let her get away with a lot more. That's my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Daddy's
nothing she can do is wrong. Like, everything is right. Even if it's wrong. It's right. It's okay, baby. It's fine. You know, she hit me in the eye with a, you know, the pickleball paddle.
Oh,
like
well,
it was
that
an
was a mistake though. She's young.
But she hit me right there. Started laughing, and it hit me in the eye. My eye was red for like 3-4 days straight. I'm like, it's okay, you know.
Daddy's fine.
Right, Daddy's gonna be all right.
I can't go play this role today, but thanks. No.
And she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So I kind of laughed with her, like that was funny, wasn't it? But I thought my eye fell out.
Well, so you are playing pickleball.
No, I got a gift, and we were playing it in my place, and we were playing it together. Like, but
that's
she actually, when she hit it, she threw it up, and I wasn't paying attention.
Oh man,
hit me right, and she was standing like right next to me with it, like.
You're like, thanks. That builds character.
It builds character. So yeah.
All right, now I want to ask you this. I was watching the movie, and in the movie, you are the head of the Latino gang.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting because I don't know that much about gang culture and especially in LA.
Right.
But you're like a black guy, but you're like running the gang.
Yeah, because I was cool with his dad in prison. So when I was released, I was already kind of sworn in through the family.
Okay.
And you know, that was the title they gave me when I got out. It was to get out and protect his son and give him that misguided information of the streets and be knowledgeable. But it just kind of like so I was the leader of the crew. They all looked up to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it was. And
how did you like having those braids?
It was extensions. So,
I know. How did you like it?
It was fun. It was fun until it was kind of like when people see you with that, it's just kind of like it looks kind of like it's crazy, you know. But it was a character, and I enjoyed it. Oh, I got a story. So we were shooting a movie in East LA, and a real gang, like the gangs pulled up and taxed the neighborhood. Like they were like, well, they can't shoot here now unless we pay them, and they was like 30 deep, tattoos on their heads and necks, everything. And they knew it. They saw all the cameras. You know how they still get ignorant. Like,
what's going on?
What's going on? You see the film trucks, everything. You know, the police was like, let them walk right by, right?
That's a real thing, though. And so I'm glad you brought that up because somebody has to, like, go and say, okay, you know, we're going to be filming here. Like, that still is happening. Yeah,
they always send a small white dude, like the tiny white guy over there. Because they know he looks so, like, you know, he's non-threatening to negotiate with the people. He'll go over there and talk. You know, so it took about a couple hours, and then, you know, they worked it out. I don't know if they had to give him some bread or whatever.
You're like, I have nothing to do with it. I'm just, but
I
you're a producer.
I walked to the back. Listen.
I'd be like, our producer, Cory, come over.
I had a teardrop right here, and I had to here, and it was they was 30 deep. They looked like they was fresh out.
What was the hardest part for you to film in this movie? I want to ask you that because in my head, I think I would know what it is, but I want to hear what you have to say. Like the most emotional part for you.
I'm giving away the movie.
It's okay. You can give me a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, give us a little bit. People still gonna watch.
I would say at the end, like when I was making forcing him to make a decision to shoot me.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say like at the end, because I know he had something in him where he was just like, I couldn't live no more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it had to be.
Right.
And I felt like I couldn't live no more too, with all the dirt and all the things that I've done like to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I would say that moment right there.
You know, I was thinking about Freddie, the main character, his mother, and how you had to talk so crazy.
Oh, okay.
You were like, oh, no, that part was easy.
That was real easy. Like, that was nothing. Yeah, that was nothing. I do that all. I do that in my sleep, y'all. Yeah, I do that in my sleep.
This is also a love story, too, for Freddie. And it hurt my heart to see how he treated the one person, well, besides his mom, the one person who really loved him.
Who really loved him. His
girlfriend. It's like he couldn't accept it or believe that someone really would not betray him.
Right.
And that's a real thing, like where people treat the person who is the best to you. It feels like the people who treated him the best, he treated them awful. And the people that were awful to him, he really wanted their approval.
That's how the world is, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the people who are, I don't know, but it's like the one who gives you that, like, you know, resistance, and, you know, everything is like that's the one you gravitate towards, you know? Even like the gangster lifestyle, like women, you know, y'all love the
Who's
edge.
Y'all?
I'm not saying on
No, I'm kidding.
No, Michelle, you know what I'm saying, Michelle. It's just like, that's more dangerous.
We grow out of that.
Yeah.
I think that's a young thing.
They like it until like 30, and then
30.
Well, 35, maybe.
No.
No?
Until like 19.
Till like 19?
Yeah, until like 19. Some
like
people
that.
get older.
And then after a while, you just want a man who's going to come home at night. That's it. As long as he come home at night, he sleep by 9.
That's what they call it, settle down.
Right, sleep by 9.
Just, please come home.
Just come home. That's all you want. Come home. Yeah.
But yeah, so clearly that's his first love as a young kid. Do you remember your first love as a kid?
Yeah. Wow. Yes, I do. I was engaged and like teenager.
As a teenager?
Yeah, I bought an engagement ring and everything.
In Chicago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought I was with someone for like 6 years. I thought that was the one.
Wow.
And then she came out to L.A., and then she saw me living in the hood, and I had like a long banana boat type of car.
Well, you had a car.
Listen,
nice.
That car, and she was like, get me out of here. You come back to Chicago, well, I'm leaving. And so, yeah, that didn't work. So.
And you were pursuing your dreams when you moved to L.A. of being an actor.
Yes, I was.
So she wasn't down with that. But
that's the beginning stage. It's always tough for somebody to see someone going through that struggle. Like, this ain't. It always looks like you're not going to come through this. You need to leave.
Right.
Because L.A., just like before you go to L.A., you envision the palm trees, the Lakers, you know, sunshine,
right,
the beach. Then when you get there,
day parties.
Yeah, but when you get to L.A., you're like, no one gets in the beach. It's too cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't see.
Either gonna be rollerblading.
Right. Right. You never in Beverly Hills seeing the finer things of life. Like, I'm in the hood. I'm on a bus. I'm on a bus, 212 bus. It's like, so she saw that and it just didn't work. But it's like, you know,
did she keep the ring or did she give it back?
No, she kept it. I don't know what she did with it, but.
That's heartbreaking, though. You come out here, you think somebody's down for you. But on the flip side of that, you might have never gotten to where you got to if it wasn't for, because sometimes things like that, to me, it's like a catalyst for me to want to go harder.
Yeah.
Because you want to one day be like, so. Yeah,
it definitely made me go harder because I've always been like driven, like nothing's gonna stop like nothing's gonna stop me. Like I'm gonna do this, and if I set my mind out to it, I feel like I can do anything in this world.
Where do you think that comes from?
My mom. I would say my mom. She was like 4'11", but she was like 7 feet tall at the same time, if you know what I mean. So it was like, you know, we had everything, and she would work a few jobs, but I had all the Jordans. It's like she worked so hard, you know, and we didn't lack for anything. And she was like determined to like, my kids gonna have everything. So I was just like, I got that from my mom. Like, she made it happen.
And you made it happen too.
Yeah, so I'm grateful.
All right. Well, listen, congratulations to you for this movie. And when I tell you, I definitely sat there. I didn't know what was going to happen, but it did feel like a real story. Like, I feel like it has to be based on something that really, I mean, I'm sure it's like a few different stories together, because these are real life
things. These are real life things that happen, especially like on the west side of LA, because it doesn't talk, it's not like South Central, but it's like Venice, Culver City, like the West LA. It's kind of that area with this area that is really targets. But at the same time, it's going to be real relatable to like most all LA and, you know, that specific culture. So,
you think, looking at a story like this of like a young Freddie, what do you think for him? Because it's interesting watching it. I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't go to jail. I hope this doesn't happen. But in reality, if this was the real world and we read this story in the newspaper, it's over for him.
It's over, right?
Right. And so when you look at something like this, what do you think the punishment should be for a 17-year-old making decisions like this?
I ain't no snitch. What you talking about?
Oh, God. Here we go, Solo.
What the punishment should be? I'm not an informant.
I'm just saying, what do you think? Because
in the movie or just real life?
I'm just saying, because like we said, this is really something that encapsulates real life things.
Yes.
But when you look at this and you see the whole backstory, because like I said, when you go before a judge, people don't know the whole backstory, and we got a chance to see this, you know, really play out. Because sometimes, and one thing I got from this too is being in a gang, sometimes you don't really have a choice.
Right.
It's like you, and certain things that you have to do, it's either you do it or it happens to you.
It's like kill to be killed. Yeah. You live for the gang. And
it's hard to explain that. Like, you can't go in a courtroom and be like, well, if I didn't do that, I would have.
Right. Yeah. I was going down this path. It just before you get to that point in your life, you gotta, you know, choose wisely on decisions you make and who you be around. That's why your surroundings is very important. So I would say, to change that, you know, he should have known that Solo was no good for him.
Right.
And went a different path. Listen to the mom more. Listen to your mothers.
That's the main. Like,
listen to
that's
your mom.
The main takeaway.
Mom's
listen to
instinct.
your mom.
Listen to your mom. Their instincts always knows like danger. You know.
All right. Well, you guys, make sure you check this out, because you are going to be very emotional while you're watching it. Die Like a Man. We didn't want to give away too much, but congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, on this.
I appreciate you always showing love to me as well every time I come here.
Oh, every time. You know, you kill these roles.
To you.
I get scared for you to come up here sometimes. I'm like, what's he about to do?
What he going to do? Right.
I know, but then you had on this nice sweater.
Nice sweater. Right. You said he got on a pink sweater. I came up here softer, just a little softer. So, yeah.
But no, congratulations on everything. And every time you have something happening, you know, always love for you to come up here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
What's the last movie you saw in the theaters?
The last movie I saw in the theaters was with my daughter. I would say we saw Sonic.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw the last Sonic. And we saw Lion King too. We saw both. Those like the last. We saw them like a day apart from each other. The Lion King.
What are you watching right now on streaming or at home?
Sports.
Just sports?
Yeah, all sports. ESPN, sports, that's it.
You saw LeBron got a Ken doll coming out?
I saw that.
He's the first athlete,
See the Barbie? Yeah, it's a Barbie doll. It's a Barbie doll, right?
Well, it's Ken.
Is it Ken?
Yeah, because Barbie and Ken, that's her boyfriend.
That's right. That's dope.
He's the first athlete ever to get that, so that's as much
amazing.
as I know about sports.
Oh, that's as much as you know? Okay.
I know what's going on in the stories and the news.
News, okay.
All right. One thing I wanted to ask you too. What's something that you're good at but nobody knows about it?
I think a lot of people don't know. I can cook macaroni and cheese, the best on the planet.
Really? Breadcrumbs or no breadcrumbs?
Ritz crackers. You crumble them up and just sprinkle them on the top, give it that little salty. That's my thing, mac and cheese. Now, if you ask me to cook something else, I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah, but
what type of cheese?
I would say Cracker Barrel cheese.
Sharp
Gruyere.
cheddar or?
Yeah, sharp cheddar.
Gruyere.
It's like Gruyere cheese. I add that in there. I add some Parmesan. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
This don't sound that, but okay.
Oh, I got to give you the whole recipe?
No, I'm just saying it just don't sound that appealing.
What? Cream and mushroom.
Mushroom?
cream of mushroom. You got to put the cream.
Does
of
it? Is
mushroom
that a
in.
normal thing? No, right? Okay, I didn't think so.
Yeah, it's a recipe. It's on my recipe is on Google. You look it up. Cory Hardrict
I'm about
famous
to look
mac and
this
cheese.
up.
Watch, it's gonna.
So
pop
I know
up.
what not to know. But thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.